Special counsel Robert Mueller's team questioned Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein about President Trump's firing of former FBI Director James Comey. This, according to the Wall Street Journal today. Special counsel Mueller is currently investigating Russian meddling concerns over the 2016 election, you know. The interview reportedly occurred back in June or July of this year. And joining us right now, Fox News senior judicial analyst, Judge Andrew Napolitano. Judge, good to see you.
Good morning.
Is this typical for investigators to question a person directly overseeing the probe?
No, it is not typical, but it is also not unheard of, and it is, at times, you have to do it. Remember, the scope of the special prosecutor or the special counsel's investigation here is anything having to do with Russia. So one of the questions is, was Jim Comey fired because the president thought that the firing of him would dial back the investigation of any alleged involvement between Russia and the Trump campaign? Therefore, the reasons for firing Jim Comey are front and center for Bob Mueller to investigate. And one of the people involved in the firing of Jim Comey was Attorney General Sessions and Deputy Attorney General Rosenstein. So it's not unheard of for them to be interviewed. Can he still manage an investigation in which he is a witness? The answer, yes, because he's not a critical witness. He's not the prime witness. He's a peripheral, at the edge type witness. And often that happens in criminal prosecutions where prosecutors learn things personally rather than through their investigators.
Where do you see this? Where do you see the end game of this going?
Oh,
I mean, it's taking so many turns, and from Flynn to wiretapping.
My column tomorrow is regrettably entitled "The Tightening Legal Noose Around President Trump." I'm not sure that his people even realize how tight that noose is beginning to get. But the events that we learned about this week, almost all of which occurred before this week, should really cause the White House a great deal of alarm. The almost Stalin-esque way in which the special prosecutor has pursued Paul Manafort, the breaking into his home at 5:30 in the morning.
While he was in bed.
While he was in bed, as if he were a drug dealer surrounded by drugs and surrounded by violence. This is not This is not the way you treat or normally carry out a white-collar investigation where the target, here Manafort, not only has a lawyer that's giving the feds the documents they want, but has a lawyer that used to work for the Justice Department. So obviously they're trying to send this name will ring terror in people's hearts, a Patrick Fitzgerald-like message to Manafort that we are tough guys and we can make your life miserable until you come and talk to us. They do not want to put Manafort in jail. They want Manafort to spill whatever beans he may have about Donald Trump.
What beans? What beans?
Well,
what beans are they looking for?
I wish I knew, and unfortunately, I don't. They only leak what they want us to hear and what they want us to talk about.
Or it's non-existent, because if there was something there, it would have leaked. Let's face it.
Well, they will probably indict him for something having nothing to do with President Trump and the campaign.
So
something on his own. I don't know, failure to report some income or failure to report in a timely manner that he was an agent of a foreign government. Then hold that sort of Damocles over him and negotiate with him. They're probably going to do the same thing to General Flynn and to Jared Kushner as well.
But then it is a witch hunt. It is a witch hunt. If you go into an investigation with the ultimate intent being to indict or charge the President of the United States, can't you call it that? You
can, but it is the standard operating procedure for federal prosecutors in the United States of America today when they want I'll use a street term, big fish. They go after people below that person and turn them.
We saw it with Martha Stewart.
Almost all major federal criminal prosecutions, that's the way it is. They get somebody on the inside, scare the daylights out of the person, threaten to put them away for 20 years, and suddenly that person tells them everything they want to hear. And sometimes what they tell them is what they think they want to hear, whether it's truthful or not.
Now, Judge, given what we learned this week, that Paul Manafort was under surveillance before, during, and after the campaign.
So outrageous.
Can't we say with clarity now that former defense DNI Clapper lied to the media when he said there was no surveillance of the campaign? And can't we also say that Comey perjured himself under oath before the Congress by saying there was no surveillance? How is it possible that those are true?
I agree with you. It is inconceivable that if there was FBI surveillance of Manafort and others at Trump Tower starting in 2014, that Jim Comey did not know about it. Utterly inconceivable that he would not know.
So he lied.
Then he perjured himself.
Well,
and he belongs in handcuffs.
It appears that way. But think about this. We don't know the nature of the warrant that they got. Without getting too much into the weeds, if it was a FISA warrant, that they got from a FISA court. The allegation to the judge is Paul Manafort is speaking to foreign agents, and we need to know what the foreign agents are saying to him, what he's saying to them. A very low threshold to get that warrant. That information can be shared with the West Wing. And we already know one person in the West Wing, Susan Rice, who acknowledged receiving that information. And we know that the day after she received it, you can't make this up, they transcript of the conversation between Ambassador Kislyak and General Flynn shows up in the Washington Post. If, on the other hand, it was a regular criminal investigation warrant that you get pursuant to the Fourth Amendment, where you show probable cause, they had to show a federal judge that it was more likely than not that Paul Manafort was committing crimes and was discussing them in his work at Trump Tower. Those warrants have blinders on and cannot be shared for political purposes.
So, I mean, do you think
Donald Trump's, if I could, argument that he was being wiretapped, which was so loudly mocked and ridiculed, now appears to be absolutely true. The question
as usual.
Was the
I thought it was true.
He was ahead of it. He always is. When he puts out these statements.
Was the wiretap for bona fide criminal investigatory purposes of Paul Manafort, or was the wiretap a conduit to get to Hillary Clinton information about what Manafort and Trump were planning in the campaign?
Which is Banana Republic stuff.
At the end of the day,
if the latter, everybody in that chain should be indicted, including, if he was involved, President Obama.
Don't we really know the answer to this?
I'm speculating. I'm hoping for just a little bit more information. I'm trying to be a little F&B here. I don't know where fair and balanced. I don't know which kind of a warrant they got. I know what the press has reported, that it was a FISA warrant, but it's entirely probable it was also a regular Fourth Amendment style warrant.
All right, we'll leave it there. Good to see you.
This stuff,
Thanks
you
so
can't
much.
make this up.
Sorry, I'm skeptical.